from the ashes. Fire burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in flesh. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in flesh. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 9 knee-jerk stream. Plenty to talk about. I finally updated the starting soon graphic for the stream, which I know people have been asking me to do. Hopefully you all enjoyed that. I am loving the football this weekend. I must admit it didn't start off very well, but Man United getting a 2-1 win at Anfield, back-to-back wins. And Bruno Fernandes getting the assist. And not only Bruno Fernandes getting the assist, but Harry Maguire getting the goal. I honestly, I could not have picked a better combination to win that game. I wouldn't have. There'd be no other combination for Man United that would have been better for me. So, absolutely love that. And Bruno, as he does, when he gets a attack and return, he gets 3 bonus points. And that's what he's currently on. We'll see if that sticks. So, yeah, plenty to talk about. Evan Nielsen injured. The guy on the deadline stream I mentioned, who was at a barber that apparently is the same barber that Evan Nielsen uses, who says he was out of a calf injury, got it spot on. I didn't. Oh, yeah, the ticker. I need to update that. Let me just quickly update that now. Yeah, so apparently that was legit, and Evan Nielsen is injured. Reinders sub before the 60th minute. Gyökeres blanking again. Saka, to be fair, Saka didn't do anything goals and assist-wise either, but he did get 2 DEFCON points and 2 bonus points as well. Let me just quickly delete this. Otherwise, this is the problem with doing it live. Okay. So, yeah, Krupi Jr. looks like a good cheap forward. If Evan Nielsen's out for a while, otherwise Evan Nielsen will probably just start. I guess the thing with Krupi Jr. scoring 2 goals means they won't necessarily rush Evan Nielsen back, but I'm pretty sure that Evan Nielsen will just come straight back in. Like, he's the more senior player, right? So we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, while Evan Nielsen's out, he could be a nice option. Up to 15k. Thank you, everyone, for selling Bruno. I'm more than happy to talk about. Everyone always wants to talk about Bruno Fernandes. Let's talk about him today. Time to sell Bruno for Saka. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Bruno is pretty bad. The worst thing about Bruno is, yes, he got points, but now you've got to worry about whether he's going to start. Is he going to be on... Oh, no, wait, you don't have to worry about that. Moved into the top 16k with a Mukiele transfer this week. I feel like Jose Mourinho. Nice. Lovely. Mateta, so this is the thing. I'm feeling good right now, but if I remember back to what happened in FPL this week, I feel bad. Selling Mateta instead of Evan Nielsen on wildcard, in game week 6 for Haaland has gone really badly. Just really, really badly. Because pretty much any other move I could have considered other than keeping Evan Nielsen would have just worked out so nicely. And look, I haven't been punished too much because the other option on wildcard was João Pedro, who's basically done nothing as well. But selling Mateta. And people said it to me straight away after I sold him. And I kind of did regret it a little bit because he's on penalties, etc. And then he goes and scores a hat-trick. So that kind of killed me a little bit. But it is what it is. And now I'm probably going to get Mateta back in game week 10. I'm probably going to roll in game week 9. Weirdly. when you see my team, you might wonder why I'm rolling, but I might roll because I think I need 3 free transfers for game week 10 if I want to do the Gyökeres Saka switch. Talk about Salah. Okay, so 2 things, right? I think the knee-jerk reaction to Salah is he's got to be sold. He's awful. He was subbed early. But if you just sit back and take it a bit more composed, I don't know how he's not got an attacking return in that game. I think Gakpo hit the post 3 times. One was from like a deflected cross. The 2 shots that he took that hit the post were both Salah passes. And Salah also had a great chance towards the end as well, where he just smashed it wide. And usually you'd expect him to score. Now, maybe it's just a sign that maybe he is just terrible now and that's going to keep happening. But he had so many chances, I'm not really sure how he didn't walk away with something. But it's very difficult to justify him over Haaland. And I don't know whether people can justify having both for too much longer because of the amount of sacrifices. Like I've said for a few weeks now, I've got no interest. At the moment, maybe game week 12, I'll change my mind. But no interest in trying to get both of them. I think it's just quite difficult. I think for me, it's one or the other. Salah just isn't worth the money. Right now, it's looking that way, yeah. It's just going to get more and more difficult. Weirdly, it's going to get more and more difficult to sell him the longer you keep him because the fixtures are going to get really good from 12 onwards. Sold Bruno to Saka last night. I mean, Bruno's outscored Saka this week. If it wasn't for Saka getting a penalty last week, you know. I have Rice and Salah. Should I swap to Saka and Gakpo? No, probably not. Which midfielder would you downgrade Salah to? I mean, Saka's probably the obvious one, right? Like, if you don't... Oh, God. This is going to sound so knee-jerk, right? But I promise you, I did look at him briefly on Saturday afternoon. But if you've got Saka already, and you want to spend a bit of money on that midfield position, you could do worse than Mbeumo or Fernandes. Because the fixtures for Man United are quite good now. Liverpool away is out of the way. And Mbeumo's underlying numbers are just good. And his minutes are good as well. Yeah, Saka's on 7, but Bruno's going to finish on 8. Evan Nielsen out for Mateta / Krupi Jr. / Voltemada. Okay, so we should clarify. Krupi Jr. is not in the same category as those players, right? He's a player that most of the time you just leave on your bench. So whether you go for Krupi Jr. or Mateta depends on whether you want a dead spot or not, right? And Foden out for Minter / Enzo with 2 free transfers depending on injuries. Which would you choose? Oh, I'd probably get... See, if you're buying this week, you should probably get Voltemada, but I prefer Mateta from game week 10. I mean, that's kind of what I said with João Pedro and Bowen this week. I said if I was buying this week, João Pedro or Bowen, but from 10, I prefer Mateta. Saka did win a penalty, that is true. I'm not sure it should have been overturned. I really wish that penalty had been given so we could have seen who was going to take it. It probably would have been Saka, but I did see Gyökeres have a quick word with Saka when they won that penalty. Very briefly showed up on the TV. And then Enzo. So Enzo apparently is not even guaranteed to be back midweek. So I wouldn't rush out to buy him. And obviously, if he's fit, you go Enzo. If not, you go Minter. I think. Even this week, I really think Mateta can score versus like. Of course, he can literally score against anyone, but it's Arsenal away. It's the toughest fixture they're going to have all season. I don't see the rush to buy him, to be honest. Which is why I might roll this week. So my options really are do Evan Nielsen to João Pedro this week and get the Sunderland game, or wait until game week 10 and just play Reinders and Dewsbury Hall this week. And right now, I'm probably favouring skipping João Pedro maybe, and then going from there. No Joachim Andersen injury updates. Apparently, it was a hamstring problem, but we don't know how severe it is. Not an Arsenal fan, but it was a penalty. He hit Saka's knee first. Yeah, I kind of get where people are coming from when they say it's not a penalty, but I don't think there was enough to overturn it, but it is what it is. I transferred in Gabriel and Mateta this week. Ended up on 89. I'm on 65 points as it stands. I've got Paquetá left. So I've got a small red arrow, about 50,000 places. But if Paquetá could do anything tomorrow, I'd probably get about a grey arrow, which to be honest, I would take. This week started off really badly for me. Gyökeres blank, Reinders off before 60, Lacroix blank again. Senesi came on for Evan Nielsen, which looked good at one point, but is it Salah out for good now? I've got Haaland and him. At some point, you can probably sell him when you need the money. Honestly, my opinion on Salah is basically the same every week. If you've got Haaland and Salah, when you need the money, sell Salah, basically. And if you don't, just keep hold of him for now. But doing Salah to Saka and freeing up like 4 million, more than 4 million, is probably quite useful. Eze now, Odegaard is out for a while. I think with Eze, the longer you leave it, the less of a... Like, he still got subbed around the 60th minute, didn't he? So he's okay as a short-term punt, but you've missed one game now. So you've maybe got 3, possibly 4 fixtures until Odegaard is probably back. But you still got Burnley away and Sunderland away to come. Although Sunderland have been all right, obviously. I said this weeks ago, though, and obviously the more weeks we get, the more it looks like it's going to be the case. This just feels like the Haaland swap last season. Because what happened with Haaland is lots of us sold him, and then lots of people continued to sell him. And he kept getting loads of chances. He just wouldn't put it in the back of the net. And it feels like that's what's happening with Salah right now. Lots of people have made the switch. It feels bad to sell him any week. But he just keeps... He will do well, but is it well enough for the money he costs? And also, I think the more he blanks, the less people are going to want to captain him. So he just becomes even less value for money. We don't know if Enzo will play the next game. We're going to have to wait and see. He might not even be fit for the Champions League. I suspect he will be okay, but I thought he might start at the weekend and he didn't. Tarkowski to Reece James. Someone asked me about Reece James on the deadline stream, and I said he's not as attacking as he once was. And then he went and got a goal and an assist and a clean sheet. I still don't think I would buy him. How much is he, by the way? Is he 5.5 or 5? He's 5.5, isn't he? Or close to that. Let me see. 5.4. I mean, he probably does play as much as he can. Sure, why not? If you want to go for him, go for him. But I personally, I'm just not sure I would go there. I don't know how long I could be confident in him for. He has been playing for a while, but not one for me. Gyökeres and Sarr for Voltemada and Saka. I don't think I'd be selling Sarr with the fixtures they've got game week 10 onwards. I'd even like to buy Sarr soon. I wouldn't mind going for Mateta and Sarr. I just think I've got to buy Saka. I wonder if could I go Mateta and Sarr and just sell Gyökeres and ignore Saka? But that would feel bad. I can't sell Gyökeres before Burnley away and not get Saka, can I? Thoughts on getting James in? Need to offload Van der Ven. Yeah, I don't like it really. Like, he's not guaranteed to start every game. He's going to start the majority, but I just don't... I don't know. I would need more confidence. I just wouldn't bother going there. I think Maresca said he can play 3 matches in a week. Yeah, he was talking about Fofana. I think he was basically saying they're managing Fofana so he can get up to the fitness levels that James has right now. But I just never trust Reece James to stay fit for too long. That's the problem with him. Like, if you think his minutes are good, then he's a really good option. Am I sticking with Van Dijk? Probably, mostly because I've got bigger issues to deal with. And also, by the way, look, Man United played well today. What was the actual expected goals conceded? 1.26. 1 against Chelsea. Although both games, it felt like they were worse than those numbers. Yeah, I will probably keep Van Dijk. It's in the back of my mind to sell him to free up money. But I've got Evan Nielsen injured. I've got Anderson injured. Reinders just got subbed before the 60th minute. Paquetá's only good until game week 11. Gyökeres to Saka is a move I want to do. That's 5 bigger issues, I think. Or 5 potential bigger issues. I mean, on Reinders, just to talk about him, my initial reaction when he got subbed was he's got to go. Because I was looking at possible moves to sell Dewsbury Hall, and then all of a sudden I thought, I've got to sell Reinders instead. But I've kind of relaxed a bit about it a little bit. And I think as long as he keeps starting, he's probably still a good value option. And the reason I don't want to be too quick to just say Reinders is rubbish now is because I can probably bench him 10, 11 and 12. And then game week 13 onwards, the fixtures are quite good. And if he keeps starting, like, these are just nice fixtures. So I don't know if I want to rush to sell him. Basically, this is how my team is set up for game week 9. So I've got Raya in goal, back 3, Van Dijk, Gabriel, Senesi. My midfield is Reinders, Fernandes, Semenyo, Paquetá, Dewsbury Hall, and then Haaland, Gyökeres up front. Originally, I had Evan Nielsen playing instead of Dewsbury Hall. And then when Reinders got subbed, it was like, basically, I was going to roll this week with Evan Nielsen playing instead of Dewsbury Hall. So I don't know if it's that much of a bad thing just to play. Just to roll. And just play Reinders and see how I feel in Game Week 10. I might get to Game Week 10 and still sell him. But I don't know if I need to rush into it. Games, Franco, wow. Oh, Franco was taken. United, thank you very much. What a game. You should have believed the bar, but I know. Who am I going to sell to get Saka? Yorkeresh and Reinders, probably. I could do Yorkeresh and Dewsbury Hall, but it leaves me quite tight for money. So I think Reinders is fine to sell, but I also thought that before the early sub. I just don't think there's a rush to sell him necessarily. Won't Cherky and Marmoush's comebacks take minutes away from Reinders? So I asked Luke earlier what he thought about Reinders' minutes. He thinks basically now things. He said to me that obviously things can change with Pep Guardiola. But he put this great graphic up. I'm just gonna actually just nick it here a sec. So this is I don't know. I always forget what his handle is now on Twitter. Is it Disable or is it FF Scout Luke? Oh yeah, this is from DIS_FPL on Twitter, right? So Luke, you would have seen him on the channel if you've been watching a while. So this is the graphic he sent me on WhatsApp earlier. And this is basically, this is great production value. This is basically the positions he thinks most players are fighting for. The positions that players are playing right now. So he thinks if Doku comes in with the current system, oh my God, get your words out. He thinks if Marmoush comes in the current system, it'll either be instead of Haaland. Now, obviously, that's not going to be from the start. Yes, we all know Haaland's going to start. But if Haaland was to get subbed early, Marmoush could play up front, or he's going to play off the left instead of Doku. Whereas Reinders is really only competing with Bernardo Silva for one of those central midfield, / number 8, number 10 spots or whatever. So I think Reinders is probably safe, and Cherky would have to be instead of Foden mostly. Now, I guess Foden could play off the right, Cherky could play central, etc. But based on what we've seen so far, that's kind of the positions that these players are playing. Yeah, O'Reilly starting left back over Anthony Feb. It's basically those two players. You get the point, right? So Reinders probably still keeps starting, I think, for now. It could be Foden and Cherky, both central, of course. And Pep Guardiola did make a comment about, someone else needs to start scoring. So if Reinders and Doku keep missing chances, they'll be out soon for sure. But I just think that Reinders was probably subbed off more for minutes rather than because he thinks he's bad. Again, I think Reinders is okay to sell because he's taken up a midfield spot and there's lots of good midfielders. Like Enzo, if he's fit, you've got Semenyo, Bruno Fernandes, Saka, Sarr, Minter's pretty good, etc. There's lots of good midfielders, and I'm probably missing some as well in Burmo. So if you want to sell Reinders, it's fine, but I wouldn't look at him in your team and think he's got to go. Should I take a hit to get rid of him? I don't think he's that bad. We probably shouldn't overreact too much, That's all I would say. Is 77 points on Bench Boost all right this week? Seems pretty good, yeah? Isn't the play to go 4 at the back and bench Reinders? I mean, that depends on your defence, right? I mean, my two defenders on the bench are Lacroix against Arsenal away and Anderson injured against Newcastle away. So this week I would play 3-5-2. In Game Week 10, if Anderson was fit, I might play 4-4-2 and bench, or 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 and bench Reinders. Yeah, it depends. Game feels so boring. It now feels like 30 more weeks of Haaland captain. What do you think? This happens every single season. Every single season. The same thing happens. The same comments happen. And it never lasts forever. Something will happen at some point which will mean that Haaland's not permanent captain. I've already seen people get asked on Twitter and stuff, is it just Haaland permanent captain now? It's Haaland captain until there's a better option. And that may not come, but something will happen. There'll be a double game week somewhere or Haaland will pick up a knock. I don't stress too much. Right now, it does feel like a little boring. Everyone's captaining Haaland. They're trying to get Saka in. There's not much else going on. But FPL always finds a way to mix things up. Always. Yorkeresh, Bruno, Reinders, Anderson to Foster, Saka, Enzo / Minter, Munoz / Cucurella. Yeah, it's fine. Again, is there a rush to sell Bruno? Maybe not. But yes, it's fine. Have played the bench boost. João Pedro to Mateta in 10. Sounds good. 4 free transfers and hold both Haaland and Salah. Not sure being patient with Salah is in me anymore. Thinking Sarr, Saka and Mateta in for Reinders, Salah. I mean, that sounds pretty damn good. I wouldn't do it this week, though. I'd wait till 10. Because, I mean, Sarr and Mateta is probably better against Arsenal than Foster and Reinders, but maybe just keep Salah for this week and then do it in 10. But yeah, getting Sarr and Mateta in Game Week 10 looks really good. Stig upgrading membership, thank you. How do you feel about Captain Cucurella for a while? No. Not really interested at all, to be honest. I mean, it's fine. It's Sunderland at home. He could get you an attack and return, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of captain in defenders. But if you want to go for it, why not? It's Sunderland at home. Sangis, thank you. Exactly enough for Xavi to Saka and Van Dijk to Reece James. 2 knee-jerk are worth moving to beat price rises. Again, Reece James feels a bit knee-jerky to me, but the fixtures are good. So if you're confident in his minutes, why not? And Saka is definitely better than Xavi. I mean, I think Xavi falls into the category of you don't have to like force him out or take a hit, but when you've got a spare move, it might be worth moving him on, especially with the fixtures that Spurs have got coming up. He's not delivering. He's taken up a midfield spot. The fixtures are going to turn soon. Yeah. So I think there's like I might actually do this on one of the videos this week because I think a lot of people have got players they're not sure about like how much of a rush they should sell them for or whatever. So I think there's like categories. 1, I just wouldn't sell. There's got to be more important things to do. 2, I would sell when you've got a spare transfer but don't force it. And then 3, you've probably got to sell him as soon as possible. So like Richarlison would be a probably got to sell him as soon as possible. Gakpo, by the way, was great today. He was easy Liverpool's best attacker. Isak, I mean, I don't know if anyone else... I thought Isak was basically anonymous today, apart from that one shot in the first half. Like, Ekitike looked better straight away when he came on. But Gakpo was really good. He was about to get subbed, by the way, before the goal. Which is quite funny, but he hit the... But Gakpo would probably come down to... You definitely don't need to force it, but at some point you might want to move it on because of all the fixtures, his minutes might go down a little bit. And then players like Saka... Oh, God, my voice is gone. That's from shouting for the Maguire goal. Hang on a sec. My throat is quite sore right now. Cunha did everything but score in that match. Such a baller. Cunha was pretty good. Probably one of his best matches in a Man United shirt so far, I would say. Probably. Can't really... I'm old now. I can't really remember what happened in August and September. Reinders in Burma and Yorkeresh to Voltemada, Saka and Sarr in Game Week 10. Yeah, that's fine. If you got free transfers to do it. I do think... Honestly, it just sounds so knee-jerk. I did tweet on Saturday that I'd thought about Mbermo, by the way, so it's not completely knee-jerk. I honestly think Mbermo's not bad. Like, honestly. Man United's fixtures are pretty good now for quite a while. Like, maybe down to Game Week 21. And Mbermo will probably play all those matches. He's not the worst player to hold on to, but if it's a choice between him and Saka, you're getting Saka. I'll tell you what, though. I bet there's a few differential teams out there that have got like triple Arsenal defence and like in Burmo midfield. I quite like that. Arsenal defence is just absolutely ridiculous. And the thing with Saka, and again, I'm not trying to say you shouldn't buy him because I will probably buy him soon. Oh, AFCON, of course. Yeah, sorry. In Burma will go to AFCON. That's a good point. That's a shame. But shame for Man United. But that's still what? Game week 17 that he will go? You've still got some pretty nice fixtures before that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fixtures before that happens. But it depends. Like, if you've got him, I mean, you could keep hold of him. Njai seems like a set and forget. Yeah, if I had Njai, I'd be keeping hold of him, I think. But I'd rather have Njai than... Well, Grealish, but Grealish is also fine, I guess. There was someone I was trying to think... I'd definitely rather have Njai than Xavi Simons, that's for sure. Got exact money for Yorkeresh, Reinders stack to Krupi Jr., Saka, Sarr. That leaves me with 2 free transfers. If that's for free, then yeah. Because, Jared, I think you were looking at doing the Yorkeresh Saka switch anyway, right, last week? So, yeah. I think, honestly, I think it's fine. I can't imagine that Yorkeresh will continue not to score, But he just doesn't look like a player that's going to go on and score loads of goals either. So even when he does score, it's probably going to be like one. It's not going to hurt you that much. I think people will be way more comfortable with Saka in their team, and I think that's fine. If I had 5 transfers, I would definitely be getting Saka in this week. And Jai is also going to AFCON, still worth it until then. Yeah, remember you still got 8 game weeks to go before AFCON starts. I know we get our transfers in game week 16, the 5 free transfers, but AFCON doesn't really start till game week 17. And most players in the Premier League, if they're starters for their clubs, are not going to go in game week 16. They'll almost certainly, in all cases, be allowed to wait until 17. Yeah, I'm very jealous of people with 4 or 5 transfers now, honestly. And there's a lot of people out there with that many. This feels like an okay week to use them, if not game week 10. I think the only thing to consider if you're using multiple transfers this week is what your position is with Crystal Palace in terms of who do you own, who are you going to want to own from 10. But if you've got 5 transfers and you're using 2 or 3 to get Saka, and then you've still got 2, 3 next week, you're fine, aren't you? Do we need to start taking double Burnley defence more seriously for any fixtures in the bottom half of the table? I mean, against Sunderland and Leeds, maybe. I mean, Burnley defence is okay, but what was the XG in that game, by the way? I feel like Leeds had a few chances. Let me just quickly look it up here. Burnley beat Leeds 2. Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the game, and I know stats don't always tell the whole story. Burnley put up 0.45 XG and got 2 goals. Leeds got 0 goals for 2.63 XG. That tells me that Leeds probably should have scored. So I think Burnley defence, you probably don't want to play unless you have to, unless it's a really good home game. Essentially, they've got Sunderland and Leeds at home out of the way in the first 8 game weeks. There's probably not many more games you're going to really want to play them in, especially double. Start Calvert-Lewin or Sarr or bench boost with Dubravka, Calvert-Lewin, Rodon and Munoz. I don't know if I would bench boost with 2 players against Arsenal away, even if they are Crystal Palace players. I'd maybe play Calvert-Lewin over Sarr, but when I say it out loud, I don't know if I could actually go through with it. Which forward would you bring in for Yorkeresh this week? So this is where the problem comes with making a... I feel like I say this every week, but I would have to go João Pedro because it's Sunderland at home. Can you buy Mateta before Arsenal away? I know he's been really good. He should have scored against Liverpool as well. But Arsenal defence is like... There's levels, right? Arsenal defence is miles ahead of everyone else. They really are. It just feels like such a rubbish time to bring him in. I'd like almost delay it until game week 10. Basically, I would probably rather keep Yorkeresh this week and sell him to Mateta next week rather than buying João Pedro this week. But then it is Sunderland. But then Sunderland have done all right at times. I still think it's a good fixture for Chelsea. Opinions on Guiu as an option. He has to start Champions League because João Pedro is suspended. Yeah, he's probably not going to get many minutes, I don't think. Like he looked okay when he came on, took a few shots, more than João Pedro, that's for sure. But I just don't think Maresca really trusts him. So unless he absolutely smashes it midweek in the Champions League, I just don't really see him starting. I think Sarr will basically play as a number 9 against Arsenal, especially on the counter. I think he's not benchable. Well, I mean, if you think that and you've got a bench boost, use it, honestly. Like, always take into account that I'm an idiot and I will get lots of stuff wrong. And so on paper, I just think Arsenal away is such a horrible fixture. But, you know, if you're thinking about teams in the league that are going to maybe hurt Arsenal, then Crystal Palace are one of them, right? That defence is just so ridiculously good, though. Anch, 2-month member, thank you. On 94 with Lord Sepp Vandenberg to play, bring on the 17-pointer. I can't wish you good luck for that because I've got Paquetá. Honestly, I'm really looking forward. This is going to go wrong. It's going to end in misery. I'm really looking forward to Monday Night Football now because I've got a chance for a green arrow and I've got Paquetá. I need a Monday night treat from Lucas Paquetá. Come on, just 1 goal. That's all I'm asking for. And a bow in blank, preferably. Although I'll take a bow in goal as long as Paquetá scores as well. Romero didn't play and I had Mukiele on the bench but in second bench slot. Ouch. But who was your first bench? Because if your first bench wasn't a defender, unless you played 4 at the back, I guess. Yeah, someone replied to my tweet. They had that exact same situation. Romero didn't play and Mukiele came off the bench for a 17-pointer. Absolute filth, honestly. Disgusting. Also, I feel like, from what I remember from that team that was sent, I'm pretty sure if I had that team, I would have played Mukiele. Is this a good week to back against Haaland captain? Who would you go for instead, though? Like, is anyone really confident enough to captain João Pedro? The guy doesn't shoot. I don't think any of you want to start talking about Man United captaincy against Brighton, so we'll ignore that. Salah, maybe. Be a brave person to go Salah right now. Or Semenyo against Forest, perhaps. Maybe Semenyo, but I don't know if I trust that. Why do you make subscribers do math to find your score? I'll put it in the ticker at the bottom. I'm gonna get that up on the screen somewhere because someone always moans about it every week. So I'll try and get it up on the screen. Maybe above my head, actually. Why is everyone selling Bruno ahead of the good fixture? I don't know if people are selling him now. I mean, less people will sell him now because he's got points. I would have got 17-pointer off the bench for Vardio, but I bench boosted. Oh, yeah. Someone asked me about Vardio earlier. Did he play during the international break? I know I could look it up. I never tweeted out that I was live. I know I could probably look it up, but someone in the chat will know quicker, I'd say. I wonder if that was just a break for minutes, because presumably he's going to play more often than not. Like, I would expect Vardio to play the next game, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Got 5 free transfers. Any tips? Well, let me know what transfers you're thinking of making. What transfers are you thinking of making? I'm not going to go and like review your whole team and tell you what to do. I was the one that asked you about Reece James on the deadline stream. I know. So basically, Dilano asked me about Reece James. I said I wouldn't buy him, then he bought him anyway. So that is your that's the best strategy. Don't listen to what I say. Played 90 and 30 minutes. Yeah, so maybe it was just a rest, possibly. Semenyo can't keep getting away with it. Yeah, I mean, if you see that assist that Semenyo got, like Semenyo would not have got an assist on the old rules. He only scored 4 points. He is massively overperforming, but also he does have really good numbers too. It's like a bit of both. I will not be captaining Semenyo over Haaland, I don't think. Would you do Virgil van Dijk to Timber if you had a spare Arsenal slot? I'd rather have Timber right now, yeah. But I don't know. There's still part of me that thinks Van Dijk's going to be okay. He gets DEFCONs quite a lot. He just needs some clean sheets to go along with it, and maybe a goal or two. He had a pretty good chance today. Am I confident in keeping Yorkresh over the Burnley Sunderland run, even considering his form? If I had more chances, I'd probably switch to Saka. Put it that way. So Yorkresh for me comes into that category, that middle category I was talking about earlier, where if you get a spare transfer at any point to switch him to Saka, then you probably take it. But I don't think you need to panic with him. Like I think the only people really, or most people that are moving Yorkresh on, it's almost always to get Saka. No one's thinking I really need to sell him to João Pedro or Voltemada or something like that. I mean, some people will be, of course, but not most people, I would say. You can't captain Semenyo now that Andrew's gone. Look, I know people last season thought I hated Nottingham Forest, and that is not the case. I was just reading the numbers, that's all. Forest is still probably going to be quite bad, even with a new manager. Even if Sean Dyche comes in, I'm not super convinced they'll suddenly become really great defensively. Even with Nuno in charge, their defensive numbers were sliding in a bad way last year. Their attack is bad too. According to XG, I think they were a bottom 5 attack last year. This season they're bottom 6. Yeah, and they've got Europe as well. So I wouldn't captain Semenyo personally, but the fact that Andrew's gone is not the reason for that. I still think Bournemouth are one of the better teams, and once you take out the probable top 5, Bournemouth are one of the next best teams, right? So I still think Semenyo is pretty good this week. I'm absolutely gutted that I did have triple Bournemouth for this week, and now Evan Nilsson's got injured. There is a chance that Evan Nilsson's fine this week, but it didn't sound that positive from what Iraola said. He basically said he's definitely out this week, and then said we'll see for the next few weeks, which doesn't sound great for being back game week 9. Start Pope or Dubravka next game week. Isn't Dubravka away from home? Away to Wolves. Yeah, Pope's home to Fulham. Definitely Pope. 95 points bench boost this game week from overall rank 1.9 million to 672k. Nice. 8 points today for Bruno. Did Bruno get 8 points? Wow. Must be a good option. I've got 2 free transfers. Reinders and Doku in my team. What would you do in my shoes? Depends on how much money you've got. You can maybe look. I don't even know who I would buy midfield wise. Endo if he's fit, maybe Njai. Possibly just get Saar next week as well. Saka if you can afford it, obviously. I should probably sell Salah and get Haaland. Yeah. It's going to feel horrible to make that move because you're going to feel like you're miles down on points already. And there's also that worry, which is just completely natural, that once you do it, it'll be the week that Salah outscores Haaland. But you've kind of got to forget about that. Like, if you've got the transfers and you just want to do it, you should just do it. I need to write down Reece James, and I'm probably going to have to talk about him in more detail this week. I can tell by the amount of questions I'm getting about him already. Kudus is so frustrating. I think Kudus is okay, but the fixtures are going to turn soon. Saka, Yorkeresh. Oh, Salah, of course. Is this a free hit week to protect against Palace giving you 3 Arsenal problems? Probably not. I don't think it's a great free hit week at all, to be honest. Like, Liverpool, it's an away game, although it is Brentford. Man City, it's an away game. You know, like, if you look at the teams that are playing, like, but I know it feels harsh to, like, lump Sunderland into this now because they have started the season really well. I mean, Chelsea maybe, triple up. But if Enzo's not fit, who'd you go for? João Pedro, Reece James and Chalobah? That doesn't feel free hit worthy. Burnley, it's Wolves. You ain't going to want to triple up on Wolves or anything close to that. And then Leeds are at home to West Ham. Like, you don't want to triple up on Leeds or West Ham, right? It doesn't feel a great week, to be honest, just because you might have Palace playing against Arsenal. Like, you're not going to have the perfect team every week. There are just going to be some weeks you've got to hope to get through it. I mean, I kind of feel a little bit like that for my team, although actually when I sit back, I don't think it's that bad, my team, this week. I think it's definitely rollable. Will Reinders drop in price again this week? Maybe. I haven't actually looked at price changes, to be honest. Would you start Creepy Jr.? Probably. If Evan Nilsson is out. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, yeah, right. Hang on. I need the... Hang on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, I suspect... people are quite knee-jerky on Reinders, so I wouldn't be surprised. Which actually might be quite annoying for me, because I think that will take away the money that I've made on him. Yeah, I bought him for 5.6, so as soon as he drops, I lose that 0.1, which is not great. But I don't want to make an early move. There's Champions League and stuff this week. Do you think it's time to bite the bullet and sell Ekitike? 100%. You cannot guarantee he's going to start. Even though, honestly, at the moment, he should maybe be starting over Isak, but it's not going to happen. Not unless Slot has to for, like, rest or minutes, etc. Best cash replacement, 4.9 million, maybe Juve or Botman. I wouldn't buy Juve now because you've missed one of the good fixtures for the 4 that West Ham had. I'm not sure I would go Botman either. I mean, Botman's mostly playing. 4.9 million defender. I don't even know. I mean, probably Richards from Game Week 10. Richards Game Week 10. If you need to buy them this week, you can make... you can't even buy Tosin because he didn't start. And I'm not sure the other guy will continue starting. I mean, no one wants to buy a Forest defender. I'd almost buy Richards for next week. I mean, Botman maybe is okay. How much is Delict? Man United's transfers are not that bad. Man United's fixtures, sorry, are not that bad. Yeah, I think it's quite tricky buying a defender this week. I think you almost want to buy him in Game Week 10. Diakite, maybe. It doesn't feel great, though. Yeah, Chow, possibly. All this talk about Reinders, he simply rested for Champions League midweek. Is he, though? Who do Man City have midweek? Is it Real Madrid or is that Liverpool? Oh, no, it's Villarreal away for Man City. I thought I heard one of the English teams have got Real Madrid. Up to 63k with the wild card in the back pocket. Ow. I was going to say ouch. That's actually great. Actually great. Thoughts on selling Gordon, not loving his consistent early subs? I think selling Gordon's a bit of a luxury. The fixtures are okay. He's on penalties. I know the minutes are annoying, but I think now you've got him, you probably hold him. But I maybe wouldn't buy him. Thanks for the Nemecha pick. You got 1 point. Nice. Nice. Yeah, he was definitely better than the other guy, I think. Was it Isidore or Mayenda you were thinking of? Wildcarded into 100 points, but now got 3 Arsenal. Gabriel. You say that like it's a problem. Oh, okay. We've got 3 Arsenal, Gabriel, Timber and Saka, and 3 Palace. We know Sarr and Mateta. Thinking just benching Sars, have Xhaka and Alderete on the bench. The Sunderland's fixture's not great, is it? It's away from home this week. Away to Chelsea. I'd rather just play the Palace players, probably. And just hope for the best. Again, you're going to have weeks where the team is not perfect, but then all of a sudden, the week after, you've got triple Palace against Brentford at home and triple Arsenal against Burnley away, and all of a sudden that looks great. Like, it's all about the points over the long term, so I wouldn't panic too much. I would personally play the Palace players over Sunderland, I think. I mean, you can make a case to play Xhaka, I suppose. I only have 1 free transfer, but should I rip the Band-Aid off and -4 Salah and Thiago to Saka and Haaland? Ooh, or just wildcard. Not sure about wildcard for the sake of 1 player. But surely you can make... It's 2 players, right? You get Saka as well. A -4 to sell Salah doesn't feel great to me. I'd rather captain him and roll, I think. I know it's really easy to say that when you don't have to do it. I appreciate that, but that's something I'd be tempted by. Yeah, I think I'd rather wildcard. Although I haven't looked at Game Week 9 wildcard that strongly, so I don't know how good it is. But taking a hit feels bad, especially when you got wildcard. And it just also feels like bad to take a hit for Salah, even though he's been poor recently. I get it. What year is it? It feels weird being happy as a Man United fan. Back-to-back wins. Finally. Thoughts on free hit 11 to dodge Liverpool versus City, then dead end into 15 to maximise the AFCON transfers. Free hit 11 is definitely worth thinking about if you're loaded up on Liverpool and City, yes. It's not going to be for everyone, but certain teams it could work. Yeah, I know you were the one that asked me about Reece James. I already mentioned it earlier. Voltemada, Mateta, Haaland. I'm not sure I'm going to go Voltemada just because I just can't afford it with the defence I've got. I do think having so much money in defence is going to sting soon. And the problem is, and I knew this when I bought Gabriel for Goodmanson, it's always going to be a pain to get the money back out. It's just extra transfers. So I quite like the Voltemada, Mateta, Haaland forward line. I think for me it's going to have to be one or the other, Mateta or Voltemada, and I'm almost certainly going to choose Mateta. Bruno outscoring Salah by 6 points at Anfield. It happens, you know. Good option. So that Man United fan is only 3 wins away from a haircut. Yeah, but obviously because we're not in Europe or anything, it's quite a while to wait. And also you got to hope for 3 more wins. Probably not going to happen. Think how many views that's going to get, by the way. He could do like a whole charity live stream or something. Although, yeah, maybe not charity because people wouldn't donate to get him to cut it. He has to cut it when he gets 5 wins. 3 wins. It's not going to happen, by the way. Winning 5 in a row. I doubt it happens to many teams, to be honest. Especially not Man United in the state they're in. Popeburn, Gabriel, Senesi. Okay, what's the question? Bench is my team this week. 2 free transfers. Very nice. But what's your question? What's the question? Team looks good. What are you thinking of doing? I mean, there's no one there you really need to worry about getting rid of. Good fixtures, good players. That's good. His career is over after the cut. You never know. You never know. He could pivot to something else. Which third attacker do you think? If money was no issue, well, not even money no issue, but if I could afford to not have a dead spot up front, I'd probably go Haaland, from Game Week 10, Haaland, Mateta, and then one other. Probably Voltemada, but honestly, if I was buying this week, I'd go João Pedro. João Pedro, Mateta, and Haaland seems pretty good to me. I hate the fact that my Arsenal triple up does not include a defender. You got triple attack. Wow. He's sponsored by L'Oreal. Is he actually? He definitely should have that kind of sponsor. And he must be able to get a sponsor for when it finally gets cut. Got to cash in. João Pedro, stop it. But it's still good fixtures, you know. The fact he never shoots does worry me a bit. Who to buy this week, João Pedro or Mateta? I think it's got to be João Pedro because of the fixture right in front of you. But I don't hate Mateta, but I would delay it till game week 10 probably. Like, have you got someone else you could... Like, for me, instead of buying Mateta... Like, I could do Evan Nilsson to Mateta, by the way. I've got 0.7 million in the bank. I think Mateta's going to go up and Evan Nilsson might go down this week, which is a bit annoying. But I'm basically going to play Dewsbury Hall or Reinders rather than buying Mateta this week. And just go into next week with an extra free transfer and just hope that's better off. Like, the fact that we can roll it to 5 transfers means rolling is never terrible. Gakpo's XG was higher than Man United. Yeah, Man United... It's one of those games where Man United probably look better than what the stats say. Especially in the first half, Man United were good. Second half, not so much, I would say. But look, you get the lead early, you try and hold on. That's exactly what happened. I must admit, when Gary Neville kept being so confident about Man United getting chances, like, would you please be quiet? Because he said that and then Liverpool scored and I thought, I thought Liverpool would win it at that point. I was really surprised they didn't. And then Gary Neville was still confident they'd get chances. I was like, Gary, stop it. You're jinxing it. But then, boom. He was right. Bruno Fernandes, great ball. Harry Maguire, great header. Who would you move Paquetá to after the good fixtures? I've not really thought about it because it might be that I want to buy Salah at that point. So it could be Salah. If not, I'd have to look elsewhere. I don't really know. I don't want to spend too much time thinking about what move I might make in game week 12 because so much stuff could change by then. Is it crazy to think about selling Mateta? I really wouldn't. Even if it means getting Saka in. I mean, is Saka that important? Are we overhyping Saka a little bit? Now, before everyone gets super defensive, because I know you all own Saka, really good option. Really good option that I would like to buy. If I was wildcarding this week, I would definitely have Saka, 100%. Is he like selling Mateta good? I mean, I guess I'd rather have Saka than Mateta, but would I go ahead and sell Mateta if I already owned him? Not so sure. Not so sure. Am I worried that Van Dijk's going down in price tonight? Not really. It's only a problem if you're going to sell someone, right? And I'm probably not going to sell him anytime soon. 7 points without assisting or scoring seems important. Yeah, but how often is he going to hit DEFCONs, you know? He's a great scorer if you owned him, and I'm jealous. But again, Saka's a really good option. Probably one of the best picks in the game right now, but he's not like he's Harden levels of essential to own, you know? That being said, I may well bring him in soon. I just wouldn't want to sell Mateta to do it. And maybe that sounds like I'm hyping Mateta up too much, to be fair, but just think the fixtures from game week 10 onwards are so good for Palace. It feels like such a luxury to sell someone like that. If a player has a 0.1 rise and a 0.1 drop, do you lose 0.1? No, you're just back to where you started. Lacroix over Munoz has been a pain. Lacroix has been awful, honestly, because he doesn't get the attacking returns like Munoz, and he's not even getting the same amount of defensive contributions as Richards, who was cheaper. Like, Lacroix has been awful, really, compared to the other picks we could have gone for. That being said, I'm probably not going to sell him. Just tempted to upgrade. Yeah, fair enough if you've got loads of spare transfers. Will you do Bruno and Yorkeresh to Saka and Mateta? How much do we need to save free transfers for the upcoming fixture turns? Depends. Well, that depends who you don't already have and who you want to bring in, right? I think Liverpool, Man City, and Newcastle are probably the 3 teams to be thinking about. Will I do Bruno and Yorkeresh? No, I'm not going to sell Bruno. Bruno and Yorkeresh to Saka and Mateta. No, so my plan basically... Let me just quickly show you. This is what I'm currently thinking, but it might change because once you've got multiple transfers, there's so many options that open up for you. So let me just quickly show you here. So this is, let me just make this a bit bigger. What's the best way? I'm just going to have to do it like that, right? So this is my team this week. So if I roll into game week 10, I'll have 3 free transfers. And what I'm thinking, I mean, Anderson obviously will probably be injured, so I won't be able to play him. I'm thinking about Gyökeres out for probably Obi to not block the Chelsea spot, but possibly Guiu. If Guiu gets like a start in the Champions League or Premier League, I might go for him instead, just as a potential option at some point. Evan Nielsen out for Mateta. And then keep Bruno and sell Reinders instead and get Saka. Something like that. So that would be my 3 free transfers. And then my team in game week 10 would... I mean, it probably wouldn't be 4-4-2 because I suspect that Anderson's not going to make it. It'd be 3-5-2 with Dewsbury Hall. Yeah, I could go Krupa Jr. potentially instead. Potentially, yeah. But that depends how long Evan Nielsen's out for. I don't see Krupa Jr. getting loads of starts once Evan Nielsen's back. Yeah, so 3-5-2. I mean, honestly, it's really painful that Anderson's gone and got injured. Because he's got some good fixtures coming up game week 10 onwards. So I'm hoping he's not out for a while. But that's what I'm thinking. So it just allows me to keep Bruno. I really don't hate the Gyökeres Bruno to Mateta Saka swap. I really don't hate it. But the thing is, I know this is like broken record alert, right? And Bruno Fernandes is expensive. He's dropped down to 8.9 now. Obviously, I bought him at 9. He is expensive. I never have to worry about him, ever. Like, look at the players that got benched this week. Watkins got benched. Richarlison was benched again. Gakpo's really good, but people are always checking the team sheet. Foden, people are going to start to worry about soon. There's just so many players with like question marks over the minutes, or you always have to ask, are they going to keep start? Like Eze, for example, just got subbed early, even without Odegaard. You just never have to worry about Bruno. He very rarely gets subbed. He's never injured, always plays. There's no Europe. It's a good fixture run. It's just such a luxury to sell him. The annoying thing is just the money. But for one dead spot, now I've got bench boost out of the way. Is it terrible? I mean, yeah, Bruno was subbed early today. I get it, right? But it was like the 85th minute. It's not going to happen that often. I don't think so, anyway. And if Anderson could be back fit for game week 11, Everton away, I think my even if Anderson's not back until after the international break, it's not the end of the world. I can just play Senesi against Villa. It just means I've got to play Dewsbury Hall a little bit over the next few weeks, but I think that's okay. Like, what player am I missing here? I mean, there's lots of good midfielders I don't have. That's the other thing that's playing on my mind is like Minter, Sarr, Enzo Fernandez, if they're all fit. Like, they could be options as well. The other thing I could do is just not get Saka and still sell Gyökeres. So if I'm not going to reset that actually. So I could get Mateta, but instead of getting Saka, I could get like Sarr. Let me just find Sarr a second. If I put Sarr in there, you know, I could keep who was my third forward? Evan Nielsen, Haaland, and why can't I remember? Evan Nielsen, Haaland. I can't remember. Gyökeres, of course. You know, if Evan Nielsen's going to be back soon, I could just keep him in the team for now. And then I could just upgrade Dewsbury Hall instead. To like a Minter. It just means having no Saka and no Gyökeres before Burnley. That just feels horrible. I don't think I can sell Gyökeres before Burnley and not buy Saka. But it does make the midfield slightly stronger. There's no Dewsbury Hall, no Reinders. Something like that. And then once Evan Nielsen's back, game week 12 onwards, the fixtures are quite good. I don't really want to have Evan Nielsen, but I could just sell him to Voltemada later on. So if I just... Okay, let me just roll... I know I'm rambling a bit here, but let me just roll on to game week 11, right? If I take out Evan Nielsen for Voltemada, then all of a sudden, this is my team. Like, so there's no Saka, no Gyökeres, but I've got loads of good... There's no Xhaka. I mean, Xhaka's fine, but there's no Xhaka, Dewsbury Hall, etc. No Reinders. Well, I think that looks quite nice. I mean, I could even bench like Voltemada against Man City if I really wanted to. I don't know if I would do that. I mean, that looks pretty nice. All it means is no Arsenal attack. But it would free up a spot to potentially get another Arsenal defender at some point if I wanted to. So I don't know. I don't know. Is that an option? Is that a potential option to sell Gyökeres and not buy Saka? You don't like triple up Arsenal? Yeah, of course I like triple Arsenal. I'm just saying, like, there's always a sacrifice that has to be made, right? If I sell Gyökeres to get like, okay, if I want to keep Bruno and I want to get Saka for Gyökeres, I've got to go for a dead forward spot, and I've got to keep playing Dewsbury Hall for a few weeks, or I sell Gyökeres, don't get Saka, and I can have Sarr, Minter, and Voltemada. So I like both routes. I'm just saying there's different options. And it's quite nice to have a good squad depth sometimes. It can be pretty helpful. I just don't think I can go through with selling Gyökeres before Burnley, like worst team in the league, and not buying Saka. It just doesn't make any sense. But it's an option. It's an option because it would just make my, having Sarr instead of Dewsbury Hall is quite nice. Having Voltemada instead of having to play Dewsbury Hall a lot. Like, Dewsbury Hall is fine for 5 million. But if I could get a better player in that spot, that's quite nice, right? When do you think the best time to free hit will be? I honestly don't know. There's going to be lots of options between like 11 and 14, 15 probably. But which week's best probably depends a lot on your team. Yeah, I've got no interest in Kudus. The fixtures are about to turn. Okay. After me rambling on about that, which I'm probably going to do again tomorrow, I think that is going to be it for me. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure to give it a like and hit that subscribe button. And I'll be back tomorrow with early thoughts. Obviously, we still got one more game to go tomorrow, but that's fine. We can talk about that in transfer tips on Tuesday, etc., etc. Right, I'm off. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will catch you again soon.